because we're the social radars, we've got to ask you, will you talk about November 23rd, that crazy week when you and Greg Brockman got ousted by the board of directors? Will you tell us that? Because I remember that fucking week. It was so crazy.
You sent the nicest note or tweet right after, in the middle of like the craziness. I think it was the 17th that it started, and it was resolved by like 5 days later or something. I don't know what to say about it other than it was like totally crazy and surreal and felt like a dream. I was caught completely off guard, and I really did in that first moment thinking I was having some crazy vivid dream that I was about to wake up from.
This is when the board said,
like got
hey,
me on
Sam, do you have a sec? I mean, how did they even tell you? Because first of all, let's just set the stage here. This was the board that was part of the nonprofit organization, correct?
Yeah.
And
that it is and was and is our only board. Like we only have a nonprofit board.
And did they just one day say, Sam, we need to talk to you and you're out of here?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah. I got a text message from Ilya the night before saying, can you talk tomorrow? I said, sure. A few minutes before he said, here's a Google Meet link. I was like, okay, let me like go find a place to sit. Because I was like in a hotel and I was going to be a call. And then this happened. It was like very strange. I couldn't get any questions answered. And then they just put out like a blog announcement and like turned off my email and stuff. And so I'm out of town. My computer just got deactivated. I have a phone. And I kind of didn't think about what was going to happen next. I don't know if they did either, but it went crazy. Like it was like national news for like days.
It was all anyone was talking about, even over in England. Jeez.
I mean, the nerd Super Bowl is what I heard people call it, and that still makes me chuckle a little bit.
And then the feeling of that afternoon was just like this kind of fog of war. Like I had no idea what was happening. The team didn't know what was happening. Like they were trying to get answers. I was trying to get answers. And it was like nonstop calls. It started as like, Sam must have done something horrible. Like this happens if you kill someone. In fact, I remember, so we were leaving, like, I was just on like call after call. Microsoft's trying to figure out what's happening. Like I'm like talking to a couple of board members, talking to the whole executive team. We're like trying to stabilize things. It's like feels very crazy. And so I'm on like these nonstop calls. Ollie is like packed up our hotel room. The first time I had a minute where I was not on a phone call is as we were like getting on the plane. And it was this very dramatic thing. It was like in Las Vegas, it was super windy. We were like standing right outside the plane. He had been overhearing some of the calls and I had like written him some notes, but it was the first time we like really had a minute to talk. And he like, as we're about to like walk up the steps, he like puts his hands on my shoulders and he's like, Sam, I'm with you 100% no matter what, but what the fuck did you do?
Wait, who is this that you're talking about? Who said this?
This is my husband, Ollie.
Oh, Ollie!
He's like,
okay.
What the fuck did you do? And I was
my gosh.
I don't know. And he's like, okay, I'm good. And we like get on the plane. And then, yeah.
That's great.
It was great.
Because the board of directors never clearly told you. What did they say to you? They said, you're out of here because we don't trust you?
Yeah, it was like, there were a lot of like personal power issues. There were some legitimate AI safety issues that I really disagree with. I'm very proud of our safety track record, but I think other people have like a different opinion on what we've done.
Well, it's clearly a very polarizing issue. I mean, it's understandable that there's like this issue that comes up for you guys.
I will say, if you believe that AGI safety is an existential issue and that the company / me was doing it wrong or otherwise unfit, then I admire the courage of convictions to say like, this is the logical conclusion, rather than I think what most people do, which is say like, oh, AGI safety is this, existential issue and it's coming really soon and what are we going to have for dinner? Anyway.
Yeah.
By the time I had got back to SF that evening, we understood a little bit more about it. Not much, but it was like there was this kind of dramatic thing where I had tried to get one of the other board members off in a way that I think I didn't handle well. And there were concerns about, safety and who was going to be in charge of stuff and whatever. But more than that, I was just like, whatever. I love OpenAI. I wish them the best. What I want to do is work on AGI research. I can figure out some other way to do that. I can do it at Microsoft. I can start a new company, whatever. The executive team had been trying to talk to the board, didn't get any answers. And the people started like quitting the company. And they're just like, so a bunch of us met up that night and more of us met the next day. I had a call with two of the board members the next morning where they were like, we'd like to talk about you coming back. And I'm not proud of this, but my first reaction, in my head, my first reaction was absolutely not. And then, because I was just like hurt and mad and whatever. And
yeah, of
just
course.
Like, excited.
That's totally human.
And then my second thing was, and this part I'm not proud of, I was like, I will come back if all of you resign right now.
Power move.
I don't blame you at all, because it was seemed like it was a shit show, and it was.
I think that was not a constructive thing. I think had I handled that differently, and said like we can negotiate some version of the board where I feel like I can have a chance to actually function, it would have been done that morning. But I responded like with
emotion.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like kicked off this weekend of like crazy nonstop negotiation, planning, counter planning, whatever. I was mostly talking with Adam, who I think acted in good faith throughout it, but he was only one vote of several on the board.
Adam D'Angelo.
Yeah. But it seemed all weekend like I was going to come back and we were going to figure out a new board, and it seemed like things were on a good trajectory. And then Sunday night rolled around, and to my total shock, they're like, we're going to appoint Emmett.
Emmett Shear, also from the 2005 YC summer batch.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that was the angriest I had been in the whole time, because I was like, the level of deception here. Oh. I was like trying to keep things together. I was trying to like tell the company, hey, this is like heading to a good place. Don't go, because all of our competitors, like these vultures, were circling, trying to recruit, whatever.
Yeah.
But Mira had like told the board that because there were like no good answers, she was gonna just resign and not do this. And so then they like, were like, well, we can't have Mira do this, so we got to pick somebody else. And so
because she was appointed interim CEO immediately. I remember that.
She was amazing throughout this whole process.
Okay.
She was really, really great. Emmett, they put Emmett in there, and at this point, I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm ready to go to bed. Like, enough is enough. So I like announced that I am gonna join Microsoft and work on an AI research project there. I stay up for like a couple of hours talking to people, and I'd go to bed. And I hadn't slept much in the last few nights. And I lay in bed, and I'm this like weird thing of like very tired and still just like angry and full of adrenaline, and I can't sleep. So I take a sleeping pill. And I go to bed probably like 3 a.m, something like that. And then I'm like rustled awake. And this time it really feels like a dream because I'm in like a sleeping pill haze.
Right.
I'm like rustled awake, and Ollie's like, you need to like look on your phone. And Ilya had said, I regret my participation in this, didn't want to harm OpenAI. He didn't say we should undo it, but something like that. And like 700, like 95% or something of the OpenAI employees had signed this letter while I was asleep saying like, this is a horrible decision. We're gonna like resign.
We're gonna resign if Sam does not come back.
Emmett had also told the board, like this was maybe later in the day on Monday, I don't remember, but he had also told the board like, I'm gonna resign too. So finally, it still took a long time after that. Like I cannot believe how long the whole thing went. But finally, I think it was the Tuesday night, maybe the Wednesday night, whatever. One of those couple of nights, Tuesday or Wednesday, we finally finished everything and announced that like we had sort of high-level agreement and that I was going to come back and kind of the company got put back together. That part was all a crazy thing to live through, but honestly, you can kind of do a lot for 4 or 5 days on a kind of crazy adrenaline rush. The couple of months after were just miserable. I was just exhausted.
Yeah.
I was like in this like stupor. I felt like I would like walk down the hallways and people would just like avert their eyes to me. I felt like, a patient with like some really bad diagnosis because they didn't know what to say. They just felt bad.